Hi guys, my name is Nonima Digela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the things and the statements that were taken by Gininda from uGwabini. Gwabini says he was taken to an office to make a statement where there was Brigadier and Mamfundisi Mukhula. And then Umnisi was asking him question if the statement process was taken where there was Gininda and Mukhula. And then he said yes. Now, this is the moment of the statement. Story collapsing. Yes, and let's deal with this. What's happening here? What is happening here? This is no longer he said and she said. Gwabini just laid out step by step how his so-called statement was manufactured around him while he was injured, assaulted, and desperate to get out. Firstly, they put him in a room with Gininda and Mamfundisi, not to ask what he knows, but to tell him what he will sign. And then Umnisi asked, did they tell you what would be written? uGwabini said, no, I didn't even know what the statement was for. This is already fatal. A lawful statement begins with informed purpose, not secrecy. The second thing that they did, they read him rights as an arrested person, confirmed from his own mouth. This destroys the state's narrative that he was a free, cooperative Section 204 witness. He directly says, they informed me as an arrested person, I have rights. That is a constitutional arrest, whether they like it or not. The third thing that they did, he refused to cooperate. So they told him it will be beneficial to sign something because Muzi had written about him. This is the smoking gun. Instead of collecting his version, they wanted him to align with Muzi's coerced version. When he resisted, they said, whatever Muzi said, they must bring it. Then he says, whatever Muzi said, they must bring it and put it in his side. They wrote it down and he just wrote an S as his signature. He literally signed someone else's narrative. The fourth thing that they did, why did he sign something he didn't know? I just wanted to get out of there. I had enough of how they assaulted me. That is coercion, that is duress, that contaminates any statement under State versus Melani 1996, where the court held that statements obtained under pressure must be excluded. This is not him being free to do what he did. Okay. The fifth thing that they said he must do, they then showed him a phone with a picture of Mafika, not an interview, not a warn and caution, a prompt, a confirmation trap. He says he recognized the person. That's it. No detail, no context, no narrative. This is the opposite of evidence gathering. It's evidence manufacturing. Number 6, and then back to the cells. Wednesday locked up, Monday first again. This looks like cooperation and more like multi-day pressure cycle. What does that mean legally? Firstly, his Section 204 statement is contaminated beyond repair, made under duress, content dictated by police, signed without knowledge based on Muzi's coerced statement, taken while he was an arrested person following assault. This is the definition of inadmissibility. The second thing, the state misled the court when they implied he freely cooperated. Thirdly, this aligns with a broader pattern involving Muzi Sibiya and Bongani Ntanzi, the same copy and paste conceive method. Fourthly, Gininda's credibility is collapsing in real time. The defense didn't expose this, the witness did spontaneously. So that is what Gininda is dealing with right now. Wherever he is, his days are not nice because maybe he says, yeah, I'm not spoken of even Kwabo Croatia's case like that, and I still came out unscathed. So this is another years. These are other times. This is a different kind of case. This is a different kind of case because Gwabini just testified calmly, directly, and without hesitation that the statement the police built their case on was not his words, not his version, not his knowledge. It was Muzi Sibiya's coerced narrative, copied, pasted, and forced on him while he was assaulted, detained, and desperate to get out. This is the day the phrase prosecutorial driven investigation finally caught up with the state. Welcome to the unraveling of the entire situation, because one. Gwabini tells the court he was taken into a room inside Gininda and Nomuhola, the architect of the state story, which is Gininda. Umamfundisi, present and observing, the door opener, the typist, the door closed, no legal representative, no clarity, no purpose explained. And then Umnisi asked, did they tell you what the statement was for? Gwabini answer, no, I didn't even know what the statement was for. That alone does the foundation of the voluntariness. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Gwabini says, they informed me as an arrested person I have rights. He was not a free witness as they claim. He was not cooperative as they claim. He was not a Section 204 witness giving clean information. He was in custody, reading rights under arrest. Yes, the state sold him as a willing witness. Today, that lie shattered. Ubaloyi udinga umbodi wokuqasha. And then okay, he tells the court, they said it will be beneficial to write something because Muzi had written something about me. Do you see the mind games that Gininda was playing there? It's a smoking gun. Instead of asking him his truth, they wanted him to ally with whatever story that was already there. And he pushed back. He tells them he knows nothing about the soccer, so they brought Muzi's narrative into the mix. And then the fighter line, whatever Muzi said about me, they must bring it. They wrote down, then I wrote an S. He signs a document containing Muzi's words, not his own. This is not evidence taking, this is evidence manufacturing. Hey, Kosiam. That statement alone, I wanted to get out of there. I had enough of how they assaulted me. That alone triggers State versus Melanie, and 1996 constitutional exclusion of coercive evidence, full collapse of voluntariness. Anything obtained under beatings, fear, or exhaustion is unadmissible. There is a courtroom grade contamination. This is a courtroom grade contamination. I don't know how Baloyi is going to get out of this one. I don't know. I really don't know. The testimony of Gwabini destroys the state's narrative of voluntary cooperation, the legitimacy of Gwabini's statement, the credibility of Brigadier Gininda's investigative methods, the independence of the so-called prosecutorial-driven investigation. It also aligns perfectly with Muzi's torture version, Danzi's torture version, the recurring pattern of coerced signing. All three show the same method: detain, assault, present a narrative, force a signature. This is not investigation. This is script writing with uniforms. So Gwabini, what he did yesterday, it was not just him testifying. He denoted a bomb. The state can no longer run from this pattern. They can no longer call these coincidences, and they can no longer pretend these statements were freely given. If the case collapses, it collapses because the truth finally spoke for itself. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing that anyone can do at this point about the truth. It's out there. It forced its way out, and Abobaloyi have no choice. They have no choice. Umtu uti, I was an arrested person, not a willing witness. Ubaloyi said he's a Section 204. Gininda never told us any of that. And they also never told us about his arrest. Uningi, guys. Uningi. So what are your thoughts when it comes to this, guys? Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.